Ring, ring, ring. Merry Christmas, Simpson merchants.
God damn it. On Christmas? That level of disrespect? I apologize for my very lovely and well-intending girlfriend, but I would like to wish you a happy and healthy start to this nice little Christmas day, a lovely holiday day where, hey, we have a flying dog coming into this picture right now. Anyways, there is very little to be speaking about on price action, but I did want to go over the short and medium time frames as there are a few setups starting to present themselves, and more importantly, we're going to go over a more long-term time frame analysis for tomorrow, so I'll save all the fun stuff for then. Today's just going to be short-term time frame stuff. Anyways, hopefully everyone had a nice Christmas Eve. And if you didn't get what you wanted on Christmas Day, definitely take your emails out at support@crowntrading.net. They will help you. And by the way, I actually got exactly what I wanted that I didn't even ask for, which is this: Gandalf going against the Balrog in the Mines of Moria, one of my most favorite and prized scenes in all of literature or cinema for that matter as well. And it now sits very proudly atop my computer. So with that in mind, wish you a happy healthy start to this holiday season or Christmas, whatever the fuck, whatever you're celebrating to you and yours. And with that in mind, I should probably also let you know that we do have a sale going on right now as well. I don't want to go into the full rigmarole on this particular video. I want this one to be nice and short and sweet so you can get back to your family and do all that good stuff on Christmas like you should be doing. But there are promotional videos that are essentially accompanying all of these programs that explain who they're for and who they're not for. Understand that it's typically going to take a long time in order to get to where you want to be. In this case, we typically notice about not an hour, a year to a year and a half for especially the TA program, for example. So I'll let you kind of peruse those at your own leisure, and let's go directly into the price action charts right now. Waste no more time, and let's just kind of talk about where we're at in the grand scheme of things. So Bitcoin on CME chart, as always, going to be the most clean and clear representation of what we're kind of looking for. And we got our big bad breakout actually on the 21st December, way back on over here out of this falling channel, which is typically a bullishly resolved formation, of which we had that perfectly done, perfectly retested on the couple days that followed it, and then continuation into the end of the week on volume as well. So all of this is good. And why is this relevant? Why am I calling this out? Because we do have a technical target to be made out of this, which is pointed up somewhere between about $54,000 to $55,000. Actually have it kind of at the top side of this bucket, $54,500, but anywhere around there is fair game, give or take about $500 from that. And that's also coming in from our last major technical breakdown, going all the way back to our bases in, if I can get this properly done, in October, and of course more importantly resolved recently in November. And that would be a big area to be aware for the more long term, meaning that if Bitcoin does get back above there, we can start to extend targets significantly deeper into the $58,000 to $59,000 region, which is also going to be accompanied by a few other more important signatures. So let's go into spot price action right now, because that's the only one that's actually trading, as CME is obviously not going to be over the weekend timeframes. And what do we have right here? We have a bit of a range still in the very short term timeframes. That's still going to be $52,000 to the upside, of which we did say a move up to that region yesterday was very, very likely, but very likely not a break in the same day. Perhaps a pullback back down to the $50,000 base is fine as well. And we almost kind of got that right there at a 50,400-ish tick. Basically the same thing as today, actually. However, the next time that Bitcoin does pop back up around $52,000, if you see any sort of a 4-hour closure above there, maybe even an hourly as well. Yeah, I could probably use an hourly in this case, although 4-hour, especially over the weekend, probably just gonna be a little bit better. Then I would be looking for the next major leg up for the next $2,000 to $3,000 move in line with the CME target, which again is not trading over Saturday. It will open up later tomorrow on Sunday, so I suspect that we probably don't see that move until maybe late Sunday at the earliest, probably more like earlier this coming week, assuming that we do get that follow through. And let me just turn down my volume over here. It's a little bit too loud. Apologies on that. Just make sure that I'm also recording. My microphone's working as well, which is good because I didn't do that before. And where I'd actually be looking at a bit of a break of the downside range, where would this start to be a little more concerning on the downside? Not necessarily that I'm looking for this right now, but if you go over here to the 2-day chart, I think that this one gets price action relatively well, especially coming into a period like this. And basically, as long as Bitcoin's above the 9 exponential average right there, which is about 49,500-ish region, especially on even an hourly closure, I do look at this as, very likely a basing region. So basically kind of, what's the word that I'm looking for? Kind of synthesizing everything down, just looking at a range over the weekend here between about $52,000 to the upside versus about just under $50,000 to the downside. Similar thing as yesterday, but ultimately, I'm looking for this move to very likely occur early in this coming week. Now, what is also kind of supporting this as a general well, a general, not just area of interest, but a timing of interest. That'll be daily BBWP as it comes off the lows here. The lowest level that we've actually seen basically since early November, precipitating the last major meltdown. Now, of course, volatility is direction neutral, but right now with Bitcoin putting in a bit of a short-term time frame reversal right here, alongside momentum oscillators also heading up, I would have a bullish bias for continuation on here. Let me just find an example where we actually had an upside resolution from very low volatility regions, and this was back on over in July of this year, where Bitcoin did put in that mega bear trap from basically 30,000 all the way up to 53,000 bucks. Within the next month and a half. So rather powerful stuff. And you can even see that the daily RSI is kind of coming in from those same angles as well. Talking about this area over here versus this area over here, essentially getting back above the bearish control zone, which is all good in the hood. So I do look at these as good things, obviously, and very likely Bitcoin does continue the run to the upside after maybe a short-term time frame pullback on a Saturday, which is typically where you do see those sort of washout moves against the over-leveraged portions of this market, which I believe that we're probably currently looking at. So on the topic of momentum oscillators, I should go back on over here, look at the daily MACD. We see that it continues to rise to the upside as long as we are above where? Above 47,631. So that is a good buffer right there, a little bit more than or almost around 4,000 bucks, which is rather relevant. And we won't even see across to the downside as long as Bitcoin's above like 39,000 bucks. So that's not very relevant right now as well. But ultimately, again, trend, volatility, momentum. Right now, Bitcoin is putting in some lows, and we are seeing the short-term timeframes reverse. Of course, it's now up to the higher-term timeframes take over. And if we go over here to daily Stokes, which I will go over to right now, we do see that the upside momentum remains as long as Bitcoin is above about 46,800 as well. So kind of coming in the same vein as, of course, the MACD. So both of those on the same side, which is good. And volatility on the ground here does suggest that, hey, once we start to see this really expand from these low levels, we're probably looking at a pretty severe move. So that's where I really would like to incorporate the higher term timeframes now that we've got through the lower term timeframes. Remember where the invalidations are. Invalidation on essentially a bullish continuation setup is basically going to be below about, let's call it 49,500, just to make it a nice round even number. On a full hour closure below there, problems once again. But for right now, Bitcoin's just flagging out at a high level. I'm always just a bit skeptical of price action over the weekend. Oh, and we also should go over lower term time for momentum oscillators before we get into the last thing that I really want to finish on here. But basically 4-hour Stokes headed down as long as below 51,300. So corrective short term still. 3-hour is going to be nosediving as long as below 51,600. Bi-hourly is going to be downside angled as long as below 50,900, which Bitcoin's kind of dancing around right now. And hourly is actually up as long as above 50,700. So what does that align with when you see them all kind of split there? Likely a bit more sideways right here. We might see another stray wick down, something like this, and then pop back up. But basically, I am looking at this as a bullish consolidation. The question is, do we dump out to like 50,000 or just below 50,000 bucks first and then try for another move higher, or does it just try from here? I don't really have a strong opinion on that. And honestly, it's probably just best to be waiting for the real trading week to begin anyways. So I should probably talk about what would happen if invalidation got hit. That would be below about 49,500 on a 4-hour closure. At that point, I suppose I would be looking for, another meltdown back down below 48,000 bucks overall. But we'll get to that bridge if it's relevant. I probably wouldn't be even looking at any price action over today to the downside as super relevant, unless if it really got down below that last higher low, which is actually all the way down at 48,200 for right now. Okay, cool. So what did I wanted to end on? Yes. All right. So we have a few big things happening, not tonight, but tomorrow night. So this is kind of going to be kind of a preparation for that. Now, while I am biased towards more continuation to the upside, maybe not necessarily today, but over this next week or so, understand the next critical region for basically all time frames up to a daily and 2-day right here. Why is that, or what is that? First off, it would be essentially this $52,000 region right here, essentially my 4-hour continuation condition for a closure above there, with targets up another $2,000 to $3,000 higher towards the, of course, CME area right here. Let's just call it $54,500. Well, the reason why that is relevant and the reason why that is worth knowing is because if Bitcoin does confirm above those regions, even on the shorter term timeframes, it's going to have a major bleed on effect into our higher term timeframes, like the 5-day and weekly, which are of course closing tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And the reason why these are relevant right now is because if Bitcoin does close above those regions, it's going to solidify this as a local low. And if this is a local low, what do we have? Well, we have local low, high. We have a higher low right here, higher high over here. This would be your next higher low. And we would expect that that's also accompanied by hidden bullish divergence, which we certainly have going on right here, which will actually even be confirmed with any sort of a closure here or higher, although I would say $52,000 makes this painfully obvious on both the 5-day and the weekly right here. And if that is confirmed, that will have technical targets in the next, couple weeks, let's say 2 to 3 weeks after that, somewhere around about $57,000 to $59,000. Of course, above that region, that's where Bitcoin really starts to look in a position of power. But here's the thing: with daily BBWP coming off of lows that we really haven't seen in a long time on both this metric right here, and then of course on the HVP over here on the daily, on the Stochastic Momentum, well, that suggests that this move very likely does have a lot more oomph to it, and we typically do see, some pretty strong trending moves come from these sort of directions. Again, the last time we saw something like this to the upside or resolve to the upside was way back on over here, precipitating this next 77% move to the upside, and we can go over more examples than that, but I don't want to bore you on a video like this, which should be on the shorter side. Anyways, why this is also relevant is because if we do see that confirmation happen and Bitcoin does initiate those moves up to, let's say, anywhere basically around $56,000, $57,000, $58,000 ish region, which would be the technical targets based off of the hidden bullish divergence confirmation, specifically really want to see that above $52,000, however, then we would be able to go over here into our Stochastic Momentum yet again, put it on a 5-day, and guess what? Above 56,650, we will see momentum turn back onto the upside yet again. And if I do recognize what's going on right here, we actually have a nice trend line forming as a regression coming in from all these major lows going back to December 2018. That's December 2018. I'll repeat that again, connected with our lows in 2019. More recently in July 2021, which was the summer $30,000 lows, and then this would be considered, another test around that regression as well. So I do think that that is worth knowing within the context of this current price action, because that would be momentum plus trend plus volatility, everything kind of head in the same direction. Of course, these things are very likely going to take some time, but patience is going to be required in a game like this, obviously. So be aware of where the invalidations are. I think the 2-day chart is just the most simplistic chart right here. Basically, above the 55, good. Below the 9, bad. If you want to boil it down to that, and I suspect that Christmas Day is probably going to be a little bit more lackluster with price action, with really the setup coming for this next week to come. Anyways, I think that's a good place to leave this one off. Again, I want to wish you and yours the very best possible Christmas Day, or just the best 25th of December if it's just a regular day for you out there in cryptocurrency land, or just whatever land you might be living in. I'll be signing off with that, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.